Hey, I'm Trey, and I have another story about a serial killer. Some serial killers are born and some are made. Either way, you still need to remain vigilant when it comes to protecting yourself and your loved ones from these people. If you're interested in listening to these stories so that you can remain salty, then subscribe to this channel. Also hit the like button and notification button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Please leave your comments in the comments section because I'm always interested in your input on the video and or the channel. Well, if you're ready, let's get started. Anne Andersdatter was born in 1829 in the country of Denmark. No youth or family dynamic was provided, but as an adult she worked as a maid on a local farm. The farm she worked at was pretty huge, which employed a few dozen people handling various jobs from planters to handling livestock, and some also as maids. So the farm was like a community within a community. Many of the people that worked the farm were poor, so they would all rent plots of land that were allocated just for the help to live on. They would live together in peace. When it came time to celebrate, they would all come together and celebrate, or if there was a problem, they would all come together and try to help one another through that problem. People had dating relationships, children would play together, and many people would look after one another. Anne was known to work hard at her job, but when she got off work, she enjoyed her freedom. She dated a man whose name was not provided that also worked on the farm on a temporary basis. Anne had become pregnant with his child. When she told the man about her pregnancy, the man responded that he wasn't interested in being a father. The following day, that man quit his job on the farm and went back to his native country of Sweden. Damn, that's cold, dude. Not even a goodbye? And now feeling heartbroken and confused, she didn't know what to do next. She was poor and was unable to take care of a child by herself. Anne knew that she could possibly lose her job if her boss were to find out. She decided to hide her pregnancy and turn the child over for adoption after giving birth. Several months later, Anne told her boss that she needed some time off of work to travel and see a sick relative. It was during the winter and the weather was cold, so they didn't have much work for her on the farm, so she was allowed to leave. She went to a nearby town of Ringsted and gave birth to her baby girl. Anne decided that she would spend a few moments with the child before she turned the child over for adoption. She sat by a little pond and thought about how her life would be as a mother. She coddled the child, breastfed her, and sung to her. Anne began to feel torn between handing the child over for adoption or taking her back to the farm with her. Anne broke down in tears, not knowing what to do. I'm sure she felt like she didn't want anyone else to take care of her child, but at the same time, she couldn't afford to do it by herself. This was when she chose the third option. Anne took the newborn child and dipped her head underwater in the pond. She held the child's head under until she died. Afterwards, Anne chose to bury the body near the pond. See, this is the type of trouble that booty will get you into. Shortly after, Anne traveled back to work on the farm as if nothing happened. 2 years later, Anne was able to successfully block the murder of her first child out of her head. A new man, whose name was not provided, began working for an adjacent farm that just so happened to attract her interest. So much, in fact, that she began to have an intimate relationship with this man that worked on the farm. So much for lessons learned. The only problem with this relationship is that the man was married to another woman, and she was also a farmhand. I realize farmhands are sexy and all in shape, but lady, you need Jesus. Anne gave birth to a son in April of 1955. The unnamed father began to treat Anne badly because he felt slighted by her. He emphatically expressed that he was not interested in having a child outside of his marriage, and it caused a strain between he and his wife. The unnamed man tried to persuade Anne on several occasions to get an abortion prior to her birth. Although abortions were illegal, unfortunately many of the abortions caused many women to die of blood loss, or many would lose the ability to have children altogether. This scared Anne and caused her to refrain from asking the father for help. In addition, she learned to keep her distance from him. Anne loved the child, but also felt that all of her problems would be behind her if this child were not around. One day after leaving the farm, she noticed a water well nearby. On the way back to the farm, Anne kissed the child and dropped him into the well, killing him. A month later, the child's body was found. Since there weren't many public records back then about births and deaths, the police had no leads to the parents. In 1856, Anne gave birth to a third child by a different father who happened to be a farmhand as well. Again with the farmhands, lady, you've had enough already. This time, Ann gave the child over to her mother to take care of. Several months later, Ann became pregnant again by the same farmhand. This time, she hid the pregnancy from him. In March of 1861, it became time to give birth, so she told the father she had to leave in order to help her sick mother. Ann gave birth to the child at a family friend's home. After a few days of rest, she left with the child. On the way back to the farm to begin work, she tossed the child into another water well. This time, Ann was seen by an unnamed person hiding in the nearby brush. The authorities were notified and the baby's body was recovered. Ann was arrested and interviewed. During the interview, she confessed to the murders of all 3 children. Knowing that murder is a death sentence, Ann went to trial and pled for her life. Her pleas fell on deaf ears due to the public outrage. So in December of 1861, she was beheaded. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story. If so, hit the like button, subscribe, and also notification button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday like clockwork. Also, please leave your comments in the comment section because I'm always interested on what you have to say about the channel and or the video. God bless and stay safe.